Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Double checking everything before we get started, guys. If you have any questions about the weather for this week, feel free to comment and ask down below. But I think most of y'all know it's just going to be pretty hot going forward. And it sounds okay. All right, yeah. So the headline, guys, today and this week, every single day this week, it's going to be the humidity. Now, a lot of folks always say it's not the heat, it's the humidity. Well, this week it's going to be just that, because with so much moisture moving in from the Gulf, plus this kind of pattern aloft and in the atmosphere, it creates a very hot and humid pattern every single day going forward. Outside right now, there's a little bit of haze out there, thanks to so much heat and even some cloud cover as well. It's creating that visibility, lowered visibility look, that foggy look. Most of it is clouds, but some of it is just lingering ozone. Because again, we had some reduced air quality today because of the heat, the cloud cover, and the stagnant winds. When the winds are very calm, 5 to 10 miles an hour, if not lower than that, it doesn't really mix out the air well. So a lot of the air is stagnant, it just sits and it doesn't move. So that's why we kind of a hazy look in the downtown on this Tuesday night. 95 degrees, average is 92. The afternoon high record was set back in 1998 on this day in history. So June 13th of 1998, we hit 101 degrees, and that's the daily record. So, and you know, we have numbers like that in the forecast through this weekend. So every single day, I would say starting probably Thursday or Friday, we'll probably be near some of these records. We haven't broke any records, and as a matter of fact, we haven't even hit 100 degrees officially yet in San Antonio. So we haven't even started the count, not just yet. The heat index has been above 100, but the air temperature itself has not reached 100 just yet in San Antonio. However, it's a little different for communities and areas west and southwest of San Antonio, like Cotulla, Carrizo Springs. I think they hit like 108, 109 air temperature earlier today. So it was incredibly hot and very humid. Another day in June, right? Okay, so very quickly, we have this graphic right here. Hopefully it fits on the screen. Perfect, it looks just okay. So keep in mind, if you have any pets, furry friends, dogs, cats, always a good reminder that when it's this hot outside, especially above 90 degrees, our forecast high was like 98, 99 today, but we hit 95. When you're at that level and there's so much daytime heat and there's no wind, the surfaces like concrete and asphalt, they really absorb and sustain and heat up rapidly. So at 95 degrees around 3, 4, 5 p.m. in the afternoon, that temperature at concrete at that temperature during that time of day can easily hit 140. Asphalt streets, that can easily hit 155 degrees, which is not good for dogs or cats or any pets that are trying to walk outside. So a good rule of thumb, if you put the back of your palm, the back of your hand on the sidewalk or asphalt and it's just too hot, your dog or pet or cat can't handle that. So just keep that in mind, especially for your friends, especially I would say anytime after 7 or 8 o'clock it's safer, but in the meantime it's just going to be very, very hot. Speaking of the average triple-digit day, the first time we typically hit 100 is usually June 30th or July 1st, kind of in that range. And we're not even there yet. So that's incredible to see that we're seeing this kind of heat wave this early on in the season. As a matter of fact, summer doesn't start until next Wednesday. So we're still technically in spring. Summer starts next week. And last year we hit 100, I think it was 101. Back on May 7th of 2022. So it was also an early season start last year, just kind of how it is this year. But again, we haven't hit 100 yet, but we're expecting it later on this week. Probably not tomorrow. It'll be a lot like today where we see morning clouds kind of refusing to lift in the atmosphere. But I would say probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, there's a good chance and a good bet we'll hit 100, if not 102, 103, 104. We're kind of forecasting in that range. As a matter of fact, here it is. Tomorrow, already heat advisory in effect from, I believe, 12 to 7. Let me double check on that and make sure everyone's doing okay. Hey there, Anthony, Carly, hope you are doing okay. Do I sound okay? Hey there, Anthony. Yeah, sounds okay. Okay, I'll turn up the volume just to double check. Just to make sure. Okay. think that's fine. All right, back to it. So a heat advisory has already been issued for most counties with the exception of the Hill Country. So yeah, and that's from, I believe, 12 to 7. Let's double check that. It's actually from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. So basically between the prime hours of the heating of the day. And this particular advisory, the heat index values may have to be up to 112 at times. So that's just covering bases. I would say the higher heat index values will be near Pleasanton, Tilden, George West, Beeville, towards Corpus Christi. The closer you are to the coast, the more moisture you're kind of exposed to, and the higher the heat index you typically experience. San Antonio, we're kind of in the middle ground, right? Between the Rio Grande, between the Hill Country, and between the coast. So we do see high heat index values, but not as high as like Tilden, George West, Beeville. They can sometimes see heat index values up to 115 to 125 this time of year. And again, that's the feels like temperature. When you factor in the humidity, you just don't sweat as efficiently, so your body doesn't cool down fast enough. That's what makes it feel hotter than the actual air temperature. But again, tomorrow it's going to be hot. We have a heat advisory already prepared to go into effect. It's not into effect yet. It goes into effect at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Meantime, it's 8:36 at night, and notice where we are. We're at 93 in San Antonio, 92 at Lackland, 86 at Helotes, and 84 at Bandera, 91 at Hondo. So we're already seeing 90s still at 8:30, probably going to linger through about 9:30 tonight. It's that time of year where at nighttime when you walk outside, it's still hot, it's still steamy. It's still very muggy because of the southeast winds, continuing to maintain a very high humidity level here in the area. Current temperatures across the region, south central Texas, between here, Laredo, Port Lavaca, Corpus Christi, Austin. You can see it's really hot, right? Pearsall and Cotulla, it's at 106. That's air temperature. That's not heat index. That's air temperature, which is incredible at 8:30 at night. Can you imagine? 8:30 at night, it's 106 in Cotulla. So that's where you typically get a higher air temperature reading between like Laredo, I-35, Del Rio, kind of in that region where it's a very dry heat. It's less humidity and more dry. It's more of a desert-like dry heat. The farther southwest you go towards Laredo, towards the Rio Grande. Wind speeds really haven't helped all that much. We saw a wind speed of maybe 15 miles an hour earlier today. Some areas near 20 towards the coast. And there's the feels like temperature, right? That's the heat index. So anytime when we're talking about the feels like temperature, it's synonymous with the heat index. It's what your body thinks the air temperature feels like because of how much humidity is in the air. The more moisture in the air, the less you sweat, the more hot it feels, the hotter it feels to our bodies. And it's, of course, it varies with everybody, but this is just a general look at the heat index values across the region. Earlier we looked at the air temperature in Pearsall and Cotulla is at 106 right now. Now the heat index, when you factor in the moisture, it feels more like 112. So that's the setup in Pearsall towards Frio County, towards Hondo and Medina County. It's very humid and it's very, very hot. Tonight we stay in the 90s through at least 10 o'clock. So for the next hour and a half, expect more of this. And because of the humidity, the moisture in the air, we don't see much of a cool down. So tonight we say in the middle to lower 80s. It's quiet. It's partly cloudy. We will see clouds build in overnight. So tomorrow we'll start off just like today where it is cloudy. It's kind of overcast and it's gray. But I would say after lunchtime it clears out to sunshine and highs will be in the upper 90s once again. Now again, today the clouds just didn't really shake that much. They didn't dissipate that fast. It wasn't until like the late afternoon we saw more sun come out. With that being said, the longer this cloud deck sticks around, the cooler our official afternoon high will be tomorrow. So we're forecasting 98 to 99 tomorrow, but if the clouds stick around like they did today, we may only get up to 95 or 96. So it just depends on how fast that cloud deck, that cloud layer, that stratus layer kind of mixes apart tomorrow morning. And take a look at FUTURECAST. So we'll stop this at tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. or so. Middle 70s, cloudy skies, no rain. It's going to be quiet tomorrow. There may be a little bit of fog, but I doubt it. But by lunchtime, skies start to clear, highs and temperatures rebound, and then by about 4 or 5 p.m., this forecast model is aggressive, and it says 100 or 101. I don't think it's going to happen because of the cloud deck. I think we hit about 98 to 99 if the clouds clear fast enough. But if they clear even faster, we could hit 100 and 101. When you're talking about just a couple degrees, it's not a huge difference, but the fact that we haven't hit 100 yet this year, we're kind of keeping track of that very closely. Questions. Good evening, Carly and Alex. Carly, yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I think the audio sounds okay. Let me double check. Good evening, Carly. Yeah, it sounds fine. I think it sounds, from my end, it looks fine and sounds fine. Okay, so the upper level pattern. So we need this to move out, this ridge of high pressure, kind of that red zone. We need that to move out to get rain in and cooler air in. But in the meantime, you'll see as I kind of put this into motion through Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it doesn't really go anywhere. It really actually moves into northern Mexico and just sits right on top of us. And you'll see by Saturday afternoon, it's right over Monterey, deep South Texas, the valley. That's where we're expecting temperatures of 105 to 110, but again, the closer you are to the Gulf, there's more humidity, more evaporation. So that lowers the air temperature, but cranks up the heat index. So that's a big part of weather forecasting. You have to know where you are relative to a body of water, where you are towards the Gulf of Mexico. That typically brings down your air temperature, but it elevates the heat index. It's just kind of a give and take. And you'll see San Antonio away from the Gulf. We're only about 200 to 300 miles away, but still close enough to be under the grip of humidity and, of course, this ridge of high pressure. So we're getting a lot of dry heat and also humid heat. It's a bad combination, especially in the summertime. So lastly, listen to your body, especially if you're working outside, you're spending a long amount of time outside. When you start to sweat excessively, you're feeling faint or dizzy, muscle cramps, pale, clammy skin, that's typically symptoms of heat exhaustion. Heat stroke is actually when your skin's a lot drier, you don't really sweat, you get a headache, your heart starts beating fast, a strong pulse, and you have drier skin and not, pale, clammy skin. And your body temperature gets above 103. So at that point, you're gonna please watch your friends, watch your family, especially if you're spending a long amount of time outside. At that point, you're gonna wanna call 911 and take action. All right, 7-day forecast. Take a look, I'll put this full screen. Heat index 100 to 110 every single day, which is why we have a heat advisory that will go into effect tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Something to keep in mind for tomorrow, and likely going to be the trend every single day. Thursday, 102 is the forecast high. At that point in time, I think we'll start to get away from the cloud cover, especially in the mornings. And then Friday, 103, and then 104 on Sunday. So it really just gets hotter from here, believe it or not. We may see a couple days here and there with morning cloud cover, but each early and late afternoon and evening should be clear. It'll be sunny. And I imagine between Friday and Monday, we'll have to look at the forecast record highs. But if we do reach those kind of numbers, that level of heat, it's what we're kind of expecting because of forecast model guidance, that could definitely challenge some records going forward for June 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. If we're hitting 104 in the afternoon and average is 92 this year, and it's not even summer yet, those three factors kind of tell us that this may be some record-challenging heat. For sure a heat wave, but certainly record-challenging heat and a lot of unseasonal air that's in place. All right, guys, that's it for weather. We'll keep on this for a little while longer. Of course, no rain, just heat, not much to talk about, and just mostly clear conditions. Be safe. Take breaks, find shade, drink plenty of water. All good tips you really have to remember, because if you spend more than an hour outside, it can be unbearable. With the moisture that's in place, the humidity, it's really, really tough and muggy and heavy for the air to be at 99 or 102 or 104 every afternoon going forward. So something to keep in mind. We'll leave it on a little longer, but have a wonderful Tuesday night. Be safe, and we will see you tonight at KENSS 5 News at 10. Tune in.